Hi, I'm Navid Ansari, and in this video we're gonna talk about multiplayer game in gamemaker studios. We have two games that is connected with a server. We use a VPS in this case, but you can use a host as well, okay? When we move our player in here, it will move in another game as well, and you can see it, right? So without any further ado, let's begin. So for this video, we have some options at how we can do it, right? The first option is that use gamemaker to create a server. You can do that. With gamemaker, you can create a server. And it's easy to do, right? But for using a gamemaker as a server, you need a VPS. And you need a powerful VPS that is expensive. And in this video series, I want to show you how Call of Duty is doing it, how other games are doing it, big AAA game is doing it, okay? They're not using a complete game that has, for example, room, player, and everything in it. They just use a script like nodejs, okay? So we will use nodejs for this multiplayer game. Why I did decide to use nodejs, it's because nodejs is faster than PHP and other languages. The nodejs use JavaScript for its language, right? And GameMaker language GML is exactly like JavaScript. You know everything by Node. If you know how you can write your GameMaker code, you know all about Node.js. You can learn it fast. Like GameMaker, when you want to create a variable, you say var. Okay, exactly like GameMaker. When you want to create a function, you say function after that. It's exactly like GameMaker. And I will show you step by step in details how you can do that. For that, let's just create a sprite in here. Create a sprite. I want to call it SPR layer, okay? And in here, let's just edit it and give it the color like white, right? It's just for example. And middle center it. And that's all you need to do. Go to object, create an object in here. I want to call it obj layer. Right now, because we don't know how to write code for Node.js, I'm gonna use a software that called packet sender that you can see it here. It's a software that you can test your server, test your client, and after testing and you know that the information is going through, okay, after that you can create your server, okay? So we will test our code with this packet sender software. Of course, I will put the link for downloading this software in description down below. It's free, it's easy, it's beautiful. If you want to create a multiplayer game, or if you want to send any data in clouds, first you should test it, right? And for testing it, you can use this packet sender. It's easy to use. It's I will show you everything about it. Don't worry about it. So right now, what is important is to decide what type of packet we want to send. We have TCP, we have UDP, we have HTTP request, and which one we should use. Let me tell you, all the game out there use UDP because it doesn't have a lot of handshakes. It's fast. It doesn't need to be connected all the time. It will connect, send the data, and disconnect, and it do it fast with low latency. Okay, so we will use UDP. So for testing that, you know that when you open this packet sender, it will create a server for UDP, TCP, and SSL in here. Okay, and we want to use this UDP, and what is saying beside it, this number in here 63651, it's for the port that is using for receiving data on this port, right? So we will use this port. So now let's just collapse this because we want to use this for test for now. After we make sure that we can send data, we will use our server to receive data, not this, okay? So let's just collapse this. And here, first thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a create event in here. Always when you want to do anything about a network or something to do with clouds, you should say network, right? And it will give you some option in here. And first thing that you should do, let's just go down. I don't memorize anything. I just search for network to find out what is out there that I can use. First thing that we should do is this network create socket, and if you select it, it need a something for input, okay? The type of the connection. So we want to use UDP, so search for UDP, okay? And you know that we can use this constant, and the one that we need is this network socket UDP because we want to use UDP. And let's just put it in variable after it's created. And we know we have a client that can use UDP, right? Now we should connect our client to our server, and you know that the address of this packet sender is localhost, okay? So, and the port for UDP connection is this one in here. Bottom it says what it is, okay? So let's just say network connect, okay? And if you just in here head control and space in here, you can see there are some methods for connecting. One of them is just for network connect, one of them is for network connect async, one of them is network connect raw, and the one that we want to use is this raw in here. Why? Because we want to connect to a nodejs server, not gamemaker server. Whenever you want to connect to anything other than gamemaker, you should use the raw functions. Okay, the first input is the socket that we want to use, that is our client. Okay, the next is URL, and the URL for localhost is this .0.0.1. That is for localhost, and it should be on a string. The next is the port. So the port is this 63651. So let's just put it there. It's a real number. It shouldn't be on a string. So that's how you can connect to this server. Next, for sending a data, you need a buffer. Okay, so you should put all the data that you want to send in a buffer, and after that you can send that buffer. Okay, so for that we say buffer create. Okay, the first input is the size, that is in byte. Okay, so you can put whatever value you want to do in here, but after you finished with your multiplayer game, you should set it exactly as how many bytes you want to use, so it will be faster. Okay, so the first one is the size, and then the second one is buffer type. For the second input, if you open the document of this function, let me open it, you can see there are some type in here. Buffer fixed is a buffer of fixed size, so if you put 100 in the size, it always be 100. But if you put it on buffer grow, that I don't recommend, is whenever a data get bigger and bigger, it will grow itself. Okay, the buffer wrap is the best one for latency and optimization. Okay, so if you put 100 in size and your data is just 8 byte, it will wrap it to that 8 byte and it will send that 8 byte. Okay, so it will be optimized. For this example, let's just use this fixed for you to see how it affects our game. Okay, so I did copy it and paste it in here, buffer fixed. Next one is alignment. Okay, let me show you the alignment. It's not here. Let me go to here, and yeah, the alignment, they explain it in here. So if you set your align to 1 byte, there won't be any space between the last byte and the second byte. But if you align it to 4 byte, you can see that the first data, it will be here, and after 3 byte and 1 itself, it will be another data. I always use the number that I'm using in here because I want to send all the data in one packet, so it will be optimized, right? So with this we create our buffer, and I want to put it in a variable. I want to call it player buffer. Now we have our buffer, we have our client that is connected to our server. Now we can send data. Let's just add another event in here, for example, leftmost button in here, global leftmost button. Whenever it's pressed, it sends something, right? First thing that we should do, we should set the index of writing at the first of the buffer, at the start of the buffer. And how we can do that, I don't know why it's for, but that's how it says in document of gamemaker. It says do it this way. Okay, so let's just do that. The buffer that I want to use is player buffer, and the base that I want to start writing from. Okay, so let me open up this datasheet, this document in here. Okay, if you set it at the 0 in here, it will start writing from here, and if you put it on 1, it will start from here. Okay, and that's how it works. And for this, the base, I want to say buffer seek start. Okay, and the offset, and with the offset we can do offsetting this data. Okay, it should be from the 0 location to 1 location, or 2 if you want to offset it. In any case, I don't want to offset anything. Okay, so put 0 in here. That's all you need to do in here. Next, we should put our data in this buffer, so we say buffer right. The first thing we knew, the first input is the buffer, so we put player buffer in here. The type of the buffer, let's just open up this write function in here, and the type, you can see it in here. If you want to just send 1 byte of data, you can set it like this, but I want to use text or a string for that. As a matter of fact, the best one is this buffer text, because we want to use it with JSON. With JSON, we can create a map and convert that map to JSON and send it with this buffer text, and it will make our life very much easier in gamemaker side and in nodejs side as well. So let's just use this buffer text. But if you want to send a boolean, you can use this buffer bool. If you want to send a signed value of a byte, you can use this. If you want to use an unsigned byte, you you can use this. If you, it's self-explanatory, and it explain it right. So for example, if you want to use this buffer in here, you can put a value from 0 to this number. Okay, so that's the limitation. And if you just use this buffer text or buffer string, you don't need to worry about any of that, because you want to use JSON, so you need to use text or a string. In this case, I want to use text. Why? Because the buffer text don't put a null terminating character, and if you put a null terminating character in a JSON, it won't work and it will give you an error. Okay, so I want to use buffer text for this type in here. And the next is the value that we want to send. For example, I want to say I am Navid. Okay, for example. So now the data is ready and we can send it. The easy part is sending it. You should say network send. There are some type in here that I want to use network send UDP raw. And I did talk about why I choose UDP and why I choose raw. Okay. The first input is the socket, that is our client that is connected to our server now. The URL, like before, it's localhost, so it is like this. The port, you remember we put it in here, so let's just copy and paste it from here. The buffer ID is this player buffer, so let's just paste it in here. The size, we know that it's 100, and with that we will send data to our server. So now let's just add this object player to our room wherever we want and run our game. I open up this. So this is our game and this is our packet sender software. Let's just close this for a minute, change the size to make it a little bit smaller so we can see both of them in one screen. And now we have our game and we have this packet sender. Let's just click in here and you can see the data is in here. I am Navid in here. Whenever we click in here, the data will be sent. In the next video, I will show you how you can get this data in here in gamemaker. So that was it for this video. Hope you liked this video. Please, if you want to help me, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It's my honor to have you here. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.